you know that you're on a home run when somebody says, I haven't been asked that before, when they've been doing the PR tour for a big movie. It's like being able to ask a question that somebody hasn't been asked before, and it did genuinely sound like that was a great interview, Ben. Very, very good.
Thank you. I mean, the best ones are always where it's just sort of, just descends into a chat, really, like a back and forth, rather than trying to crowbar in what you think should be asked. So I think, she just fit really comfortably into that. She came through the door chatting. We had an interesting chat before the mics were even on. So I just thought this one's gonna go just fine. But it is amazing, isn't it? Like how many things she does in that movie. I didn't even mention the accent.
Yeah.
The things that she has to maintain for that couple of hours is bonkers. What did you make of it?
Okay, so after the love fest of that interview, babes.
Go on, babes, let us know.
So, unlike you, I am a horror fan. I'm often disappointed by modern horror. But as you said in that interview, so the first film was an expansion of the short film Laura Hasn't Slept by Parker Finn. Incidentally, Parker Finn is apparently currently working on a remake of Andrzej Żuławski's Possession, which is a terrifying thought because Possession is like one of the strangest movies ever made. And I don't know that I want anyone to go near it, but apparently that's happening. Right. So in the first one, the idea of the curse being passed, by witnessing death and the smile, it wasn't the most original idea, but I jumped or jolted, a good 3 times in that first one. And I really enjoyed the anxiety of where the next jolt was going to come from. I was surprised by how well it worked. So in this one, again, written and directed by Parker Finn. Chris Baltabia-DeVere is back as the composer. So just quick plot thing. Naomi Scott is pop star Skye Riley. A year ago, she was in a car crash that killed her partner. Now she's back, recovered, rehabbed, clean and ready to rock. But she has a bad back, which she puts out during dance practice. She calls a dealer friend, an old friend from before, because she wants Vicodin for her pain. She goes to his apartment only to find him in the grip of the smile demon and then to become its next victim. Rosemary DeWitt is her pushy mum who thinks that the show must go on. Doesn't matter what's going on ahead. The tour is everything. And Drew Barrymore is Drew Barrymore, as I think you heard in that little clip. So firstly, she's terrific. I mean, I actually think it's an awards-worthy performance.
I agree.
Horror movies don't get awards. But I really thought, wow, you are doing everything, and you are doing everything completely convincingly. And as you said, I mean, just in terms of the sheer amount of stuff to do, I thought it was genuinely an awards-worthy performance. And when it doesn't get nominated, it'll be because horror films don't get nominated. I think the conceit of her being a famous singer works, not least because she can actually do all that stuff. And, when you see movies that have a pop star and you don't for 1 minute believe that they are a pop star, none of that, okay?
You see the completely different hands on the piano keys. Big beefy,
that's right.
Big beefy bloke's hands playing the piano.
Yeah. Well, incidentally, in Steve McQueen's new film, Blitz, they need a grandfather who plays the piano, and he cast Paul Weller because Paul Weller is a musician, and it's Paul Weller's hands. Anyway, I think that it's visually smart. I mean, there are echoes of things like George Romero's Dawn of the Dead. There's a scene when there's the loads of hands all sort of reaching out to smother her. There's that dance troupe hallucination when they're all closing in, the kind of forest of hands. That's definitely very Romero. And I love the thing that you touched on, which is the idea of no matter how bad things are, the horror is that there's a whole team of people depending on her, and she's famous, and therefore even when she's in a bar, at any moment everyone may suddenly turn on her. Now, here's the thing in terms of the film itself. Okay, it does use the quiet bang thing, but it does it well. There's a scene in which she hears a noise in her apartment and she's looking for the source of the noise. And I was really reminded of John Carpenter's work on Halloween. Simple tricks, well executed, can be a really effective thing. The jumps worked, and there were more of them this time. I mean, there was about 5 times that I genuinely jumped in my seat, starting with the opening scene, which has got real black humor. And then that really, I don't want to give it away, but there is an unexpected moment in the opening scine in which very early on I went, which I was, and then everyone looked around and went, yeah, I'm sorry. And then I did that a few times. I like the original, which it's got a kind of nicely nasty sting in its tail. I think it's very entertaining, Friday night, crowd pleasing, give you the shivers fare. I thought her performance was terrific, and I really enjoyed the movie. And I think the key to it really is that thing about a gag can be simple if you do it well, a simply executed gag is a wonderful thing. And when I say gag, I mean like a scare, like a jump, like a, what they used to call the bus. Those things, when they're done well, there is a real pleasure in them. And I really enjoyed Smile 2, and not least because I thought she was fab.
Yeah, I just agree with every single thing you said. I'm always apprehensive going into horror because I'm such a scaredy cat with that stuff. But I just thought it worked on every level. It just worked as a movie. My anxiety was up. I was constantly on edge. The scares really terrified me. And again, not giving anything away, but forget sharp things. Blunt instruments in this movie. I mean, blunt instruments should not be forced into these parts of the body. And it just, every blunt instrument used just messed with me more and more and more from start to the very, very final frame. Horrendous in the best possible way.
It's well done. It's well done. It packs a punch and it's well done. And it's honestly, and I mean this as a compliment, it is perfect Friday night popcorn, sit there and jump fare. And it's given a real sort of solid kind of, route by her performance, because you completely believe. I've never seen anybody drink so many bottles of water in one, to the point that I started to think, are those bottles of water fake? Because that's an amazing feat.
Yeah. Isn't it ironic then that it's this perfect Friday night popcorn jump scare fare, it perfectly executed, and that's almost like the same reason that she won't win an Oscar or even be nominated. It's the same as comedy. It's just never going to happen. Sad, but true.
Yeah. I remember seeing Fire Walk with Me, the David Lynch thing, and thinking, everyone hates this film, but if you think that doesn't deserve an Oscar for that central performance, which is one of the most brilliant operatic performances I've ever seen. But anyway, that's how it works. Genre films don't win awards generally. And I know now people will write in and go, well, yes, The Exorcist was up for thing and Get Out was blah, 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 blah. But as a general rule, genre films don't win.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, she's basically, just to put a full stop on this, she is basically the acting equivalent of Katrina Johnson-Thompson or something. She's like a decathlete, the amount of things she's doing in that film and pulling them off. And it's mental when you think there's some actors who all they've got to do is just get the accent and they can't do that. So, it's amazing. I highly recommend it.